Welcome, good morning, namaskar. This is Trijni Global coming from California, welcoming you to Pitch Perfect. I would request them if you have any question for these great VCs, for these great entrepreneurs, please put up on the chat or on your comment section, and we'll be pulling them to ask them, or at least we can convey them later to our entrepreneurs and VCs. We have great minds working, coming up with great ideas, wonderful concepts, business plans, but how do we make it happen? We think about venture capitalists, funding, seed money, basically money. And how does it work? We learn it today with the great VC minds of Silicon Valley. Those who have made things happen, those who have done things right. How do they think about which to select and which not to select? We had an idea of presenting them, our VCs, in a show, but then we thought, why don't we have a real interaction with students, with VCs, with entrepreneurs, and bring real life to a demonstration? So that's how we reached out to all the universities, all the colleges, and from there we got applications from all the IITs, all the great Ivy Leagues. From where we got 6 applications, really important, which we all should listen to and know about. So we have Pitch Perfect coming up with IIT BHU, IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, Stanford, UC Irvine, and PS Bangalore. We have IIT Pune and other institutes as well.
Very happy to be here. Thank you, Archana, for initiating this. And it's phenomenal to see the response that we have received from the bright minds coming out of engineering colleges and universities in India. I mean, it's really nice to see the entrepreneurship mind is already sprouting in the minds of all these youngsters.
All our entrepreneurs have that citizenship feeling in them. It's just not making money, but how to use it properly. So, BV sir, what made you think about USAT, about Akshay Patra, about scholarships, about Shankara Cancer Foundation? So many nice and wonderful things you're doing. Right from Bay Area, from Silicon Valley, you're making a difference in back home in India. How do you think about it?
We have so far built like 55, 60 schools, and we are on a tremendous growth, and we want to do like 100 schools in the next couple of years. So the impact that we create is really massive. Each school holds about 650 students, and we go and completely rebuild these schools, the classrooms, the toilets, and halls and everything. We just take the leadership and go and solve these problems. And you should see the happy faces and the happy environment that it creates for the children to come to a safe school. That's the whole intention of doing it. And Akshay Patra, is a massive midday meal program, and it's founded by some amazing people out of Bangalore. And today, we feed almost like 1.8 million children every day.
So that is BV Jagdish sir, the legend VC from Silicon Valley, talking to us about not only his making of money, but the making of heart, making of connections, making of life in India. So the food given 1.8 billion every day is not a small figure. And not only for food, but for education, because that food gives energy and the zeal, the yearning to learn, to be educated. Thank you, sir. But I also would like to know, how did you make things happen in Silicon Valley? Our entrepreneurs are joining us from far and so many places. So how did you make Exodus happen, NetScaler happen? How did you make all these things happen in such a competitive world as Silicon Valley? Could you give us some enlightenment into that?
93 is when we kicked off Exodus Communications, and then and we took the company public in 1998. And in fact, Exodus, which was the pioneer in the internet data centers, at one time was carrying almost like 40% of the world's internet content. And back then, President Clinton named Exodus as a national asset. So, as two immigrants coming from a totally different country and starting ground up, building a company that gets recognized by a US government as a national asset, I tell you, that was the most proud moment. That means if somebody like us can do it, anybody with that dream, anybody with that ambition can actually make it happen.
Venk Shuklaji is a general partner of Monta Vista Capital. But what really excites me, he is the ex-president chair of TiE Silicon Valley. And even for the global TiE element, he was president and chair. So welcoming Venk Shuklaji.
No, I think I became entrepreneur by accident. I'd never had any dreams of being an entrepreneur. It's just that I was in a large company, and one day I sat down to take a note of where I was spending my time, and I figured that I was spending about 70% of my time uh, either attending meetings, preparing for meetings, or following up from meetings. And at that time, I said that the first good opportunity I get is to be in a smaller organization, I'll go. And it had nothing to do with, entrepreneurial ambition. I went to a startup that did very well, but most important, I think the satisfaction of seeing an immediate impact of the decision you are making on a day-to-day basis was intoxicating. And after that, I said, I'm not going back to a big company. I'm going to stick around and work in small organizations where I can make impact and see its impact on a daily basis.
And how did you come up with becoming the chairperson, the president of TiE Global and TiE Silicon Valley? That's something really excites me, and I would like to know more about it, sir.
That's also an accident, actually. I didn't plan to be president of TiE Silicon Valley. I think, in fact, I didn't want to be, because I wanted to start my venture fund. And some of the past presidents of TiE, they were worried about leadership transition, and they talked me into it, and of throwing my hat in the ring. And I'm glad I did, because it turned out to be one of the most satisfying things that I've done in my life. This ability to add value to entrepreneurs, ability to influence public policy, particularly in India, about entrepreneurship, and not only with the central government, but also with the state governments. I think that was very satisfying.
And only the Iron Lady, we call her Iron Lady because she was the first woman to make her company go public, Indo-American first lady. So I'm very, very proud of her. And besides that, she has many other laurels because she's a bridge champion, a very unique combination of entrepreneurship, playing bridge, and so many things that she does for the welfare of women in Bay Area. Welcoming one and only Vinita Gupta ji.
So there is a lot of learning to be done. And after having participated in championships and winning a few, I would say this is when I started learning how I work. We never stop. We are always following other people's examples, and we emulate that as we are growing up, and that's all good. That's how the learning happens. But when you dive into an activity like this, you are in this journey of your own brain and what the problem is in front of you all by yourself. So there are strategies to be deployed. There is something called in sports psychology, mindfulness, which is you have to act in the moment. When you are acting in the moment, you make good decisions and you make very bad decisions. And you have to learn to live with the bad decisions you make, because they say that you need to keep forgiving yourself and forget about the bad hand that you played. So agility is important, I would say, in starting entrepreneurship, where you have to go and do marketing research, and market may not be what you think it is, or it may move, and you have to stay agile to move with the market.
To Raju Reddy ji, who is the founder of Sierra Atlantic, which was acquired by Hitachi. Raju ji, good morning and welcome to Srijani Global Pitch Perfect.
I think the entrepreneurs coming out of India building substantial companies now, there are so many unicorns, not just for the Indian market, but really for a global market. And that was not the case even 5 years ago. And so in many ways, I think India is in a very unique position. I would challenge to say that there are more companies of scale, just not yet at the level of China, but not too far from it, just building for a global market. So I think that's the exciting part of it. Now, Kakatiya Sandbox, I mean, that's an initiative that has started in rural Telangana, North Telangana, about 8 years ago, modeled after the work that Deshpande was doing in Hubli. So at a high level, everything we do there is about improving income levels in rural India, right? We pick a close-knit geography, roughly 10 million population, and we support different specific nonprofits or programs. But at a high level, kind of there are three main constructs to what we do. One, it is sort of bottom-up form of socio-economic development, meaning unless the local people are an active part of the solution, these changes are not sustainable, right? So in fact, today, there is a Thai chapter in Nizamabad. It's definitely the smallest city with a Thai chapter anywhere in the globe. And I would say it's one of the most vibrant Thai chapters also, mostly run by young folks in their late 20s, early 30s. Many of them, of course, coming from family businesses, but some starting up new avenues and all of that. That's one, bottom-up socio-economic development. Second, bringing an entrepreneurial mindset to addressing social challenges, meaning charity is necessary, absolutely, but it's Adesh, the founder of the Hubli Sandbox, he likes to describe, if you can combine the compassion of the non-profit world with the execution excellence of the for-profit world, that's when you get outstanding results, right? And third is scale. I mean, a country of over 1 billion people, there are a lot of wonderful work that's being done in different villages and all of that. But unless you touch a large enough population, you're not going to make a meaningful difference, right, over time. So the idea is each such sandbox is roughly about 10 to 15 million people. So if you've got 20 such ecosystems, you're talking about 200 to 300 million people, right? And all in rural areas. So that's kind of the essence of it.
Thank you so much, all of our VCs. A huge round of applause for all our great stars from Silicon Valley who joined us today morning for Pitch Perfect on behalf of Srijani Global. So now coming up with the pitch, we have the first Happy Minds from IIT BHU, represented by Sashwat and Divyansh. The audience who are asking us questions: Manoj Tandon, Rajni Goyal, Swati Mishra, Sashi Shukla, Shipra Shilpi from Germany, Prachi Randhawa from Canada, Rupam Yadav from Nepal, Balakrishna Paliwal, Meena Shivkumar, Veer Bahadur Chauhan, Shweta Datta Patil, Richa Dubey, Nitin Gautam, Shiv Pachori, and Neelu Gupta. So some of them are from California and many places of US, many places of India, and across globe. We welcome you all, and we'll be putting your questions after just this presentation from Happy Minds. IIT BHU presenting Happy Minds.
Every hour, one student commits suicide in our country. To address this, the government has mandated colleges to provide counseling services. There are more than 50,000 colleges in India in which 14 million students face mental health issues. We interviewed 20 psychologists and 100 users to understand the problem in depth.
How do you ensure the quality of the people who are providing that support?
So there are modules for therapists only, and these modules have been developed by psychologists. And the other point is that in India, for clinical psychologists, there's a government body called as RCI, which recognizes recognizes the authenticity of each therapist. So right now we have been reaching out to RCI registered psychologists and onboarding them on our platform.
This space, there are others who have tried to build these sort of solutions, whether it's Your Dost or here in the Bay Area, companies like Lantern and others. But very few of them have actually scaled.
Look at certain other competitors. And right now, what we are trying to take inspiration from is from a startup based in Ohio called as Sonde Health. They are also working in the same space, and they have been able to cater to many B2B markets in the US. And what we are focusing on right now is that Calm is in the self-care aspect, where the user is taking care of themselves. We are more in the accessibility market of therapy, that we connect users with therapists and we try to focus on those pain points. So for example, reducing the therapy dropout rate or helping a person monitor therapy. So right now in platforms like mFine or Practo, whenever if I go and seek therapy, they would ask two questions. How has your sleep activity been? And how has your physical activity been? Which the user is answering based on his or her memory. And these are some things that are provided integrated within the app and can be shared with the therapist. And we are trying to increase the efficiency of therapy.
So presenting Impact Hut from IIT Madras.
We focus on skills that will be required irrespective of the career path one chooses. Right now, we are focusing on financial literacy, communication, problem solving, and critical thinking, and leadership and people skills. A simple workshop series or a YouTube video should teach you these skills, right? Absolutely. But an average of 90% of the new information is forgotten by the human brain within a week.
And I think a number of attempts are taking place, you see, all over the world, basically to gamify learning, to make it easy. Have you thought of who will pay for it? I would suspect it's the parents, you see, who will pay for it, right?
Yeah, our parents would.
So, have you thought about how to reach out to parents and how to convince them to pay for it? Because these are all, all the things that you talk about, these are all sort of abstract skills that the kid will benefit from later in life. You saw that, how White Hat Junior conquered the world by telling parents that, hey, your kid, you see, could be a programming genius and all those kind of things. And that's something that parents respond to. Financial literacy and all those kind of things. Have you had any successes talking to parents? How many parents have you talked to of school-going kids who would be willing to pay for financial literacy?
The skill, the future benefits, the free time they would be spent, the free time which they have, so that they could spend it on right things. And third thing would be the NAP implementation, which is focusing on these skills. And thus we want to enter schools as well, which if you have association with schools, that's a great way to get our end users.
And I'm just curious to understand how you have thought through these things. And I even wanted to understand an example of what a critical thinking that you have thought through and at what grades, right, that you are thinking about it.
We are focusing more on the application part, so that they get hands-on application and make sure they retain those skills.
Thank you so much. And this is Impact Hut from IIT Madras, represented by on-screen Shubham, Hanushavardhini, and Skanda. Thank you so much, and let's give them a huge round of applause. Thank you so much, IIT Madras. So let's go ahead with Enroll from UC Irvine.
If you had 6 seconds to catch a potential employer's attention, would you hand them a timeline? Or is there a better way to go about that process? One of our advisors, executive recruiter Jeremy Turpin, said it best in an article that he published recently on LinkedIn on this exact topic. Resumes are outdated, and with the invention of AI and ML technologies that allow us to better match recruiters to potential job seekers, there's huge opportunity for a better platform in this space. Enroll is a double-sided matching platform based exactly on this concept, a more holistic form of matching, not just based on the resume, and catering to problems that both recruiters and job seekers face in today's world.
Aarti, what would be your competitive advantage in just saying that it's a video storytelling? How would you prevent other people or overcome, or what is the speciality that you provide over anybody else who might be present in the market or who may come up in the market?
That's a great question. And I think recently, because of the pandemic, there are a lot more of these recruiting services that have come up that are more holistic focused, if that makes sense. So trying to evaluate a candidate not just based off of the resume because you can't meet them in person. So what I think we would say our competitive advantage is currently, based on all of these newer startups that have come up in the recruiting space, is this idea that in the recruiting process, we're not necessarily eliminating the interview or eliminating the phone screen, but we're making it such that the recruiter who interviews a certain number of candidates knows for a fact that they're interviewing the best set of candidates for their job posting.
Insulin for diabetes, represented by IIT Mumbai and Stanford, Neelam Dwivedi and Arunagiri Nathanji. So here coming up next is our presentation for insulin for diabetes.
We are working on insulin capsule making technology for insulin dependent diabetes patients around the world. Why diabetes? Why we are so much passionate to bring this innovation into the market? There are millions of diabetes patients in the world who has to take 2 to 4 insulin injections in a day to survive. And pricking your own body multiple times in a day is a very painful process. Over the period, they develop pain, itching, or allergy at the frequent site of injection. Either it is a subcutaneous insulin, jet injection, or insulin pump, which is attached to your body for 24/7. It all causes discomfort and pain. They all want insulin tablet.
You know, I have to applaud the scale of your ambition and your innovation. This is phenomenal. I think, as you said, problem has not been solved in a long time. So really applaud. I'm really proud of the innovation that you guys are bringing to the market. Have you thought of which regulator you're going to pursue first? Is it the Indians or is it FDA?
We developed the technology in India. So first we have to go through the CDSCO regulation and then FDA regulations, because our US patent is also granted. So first we have to do CDSCO.
But the one advantage you may have being in India and kind of doing this is the pharma companies, and there's quite a few of them now, right? That are quite substantial in size. So anything you want to comment on that? Just where you are with the licensing or any partnerships there?
We appreciate to looking for Indian MNCs, Indian pharmaceutical companies as well, but we see the appetite for this diabetes market is huge, and the entry barriers are a little more complex and challenging. The kind of industries we are approaching and the kind of competitors we are trying to look out seems to be a little resisting to go forward on these lines. So we are looking forward to explore in foreign land. That's what we would say from us.
We are now going to a very different field, a different genre. And now we are presented by SmartVote into electoral system, a more secure form, and using blockchain. I was very interested with the very subject of blockchain being introduced in electoral system.
What it is about, let us focus on the problem. Today in India, voting happens through machines that haven't been updated since 1983. While current machines have served well, they are still prone to various issues like transportation damage, old lock-and key storage system, etc., which makes us think, are our votes safe and secure? It is then counted at an organization manually. Is this process really tamper-proof? Obviously, this includes potential trust issues in how these machines count and translate into master databases, causing debates and recounts which can get erroneous.
Our BVMs and DAP can be authorized for that election. It's as simple as that.
Things are leaning more towards transparency. Things are leaning more towards empowering individuals to be able to connect and communicate and enterprise with one another. Maybe blockchain can be an amplifier to help us realize that kind of a world.
There is one authority that decides to see what will be used in India, and that's the Election Commission. And that authority does not believe it has a problem. How would you, if in a market of one buyer who doesn't believe that it has a problem, how would you succeed?
We are planning to start from as small as communities and building up on a way. And as we gather more people on our network, we can show our credibility to the Election Commission itself. And we can show them the past data as well, that how elections can be improved, the credibility of the whole system can be improved. along the way as we build up our system from small communities to bigger elections.
And I think it has a great potential. Is the technology ripe yet for prime time? Tempering with it, the security, and the second part I would like you to address also is there are other companies trying to do the same thing. So what is your differentiator vis-a-vis other companies who are trying to do the voting through blockchain technology?
Okay, I'd like to jump in on that. I'd address your latter part of the question. So right now, as far as the research we have done, there are no such startups in India as such who are currently leveraging blockchain as a technology to solve elections. The only notable one would be the startup called Aurora, which is in collaboration with IIT Madras. But just like us, they're in their very nascent stage.
Thank you, Tarun, Om, Misbah, Abhigyan, Satvik. They are representing PES Bangalore, and we also appreciate Falcon X for all the help we have received in reaching out to all the university. Thank you, BVJ sir, and thank you, Anuji, for helping in that regard. So we will look forward to more brilliant ideas from you. And coming up next, right ahead, we have is Somaiti. Somaiti coming up next. And let's see their video before we request our panel to ask them questions. Here's Somaiti for you.
Hey everyone, I'm Rohan.
Hey, I'm Aditya.
Let's see Somaiti in action. Make web page font types more.
How do you think you can get you can get the funding to do it? Is the idea behind to somehow launch the company and be able to get acquired by major, and make it successful?
So what we have planned is because there are a lot of special schools in India. So we will offer them a customized enterprise version. So what that means is some kinds of special schools require more customized features. For example, there might be schools for blind people. So they would require specific features to blind people.
So it's anyway, that's my question. A kind of related thing is who are your competitors? And I didn't see anything on the competitive landscape because that may partly answer which segment you should focus on and things like that.
Yeah, I'll take that up. So initially, as you mentioned, we were targeting those 700 million users, but then we thought, why do we need to do everything at once? Why not target a more specific segment, right? So we got to know through our users. So there are teachers in the US who told us that you should instead focus on schools because this is really needed in the US.
So encouraging, so inspiring, so motivating. Welcoming Dr. TV Nagendra Prasad Ji, Consul General in CGI San Francisco. Please raise your hands and put a warm round of applause for Dr. Nagendra Prasad Ji.
Namaste to everyone. Good morning to all those in Bay Area, and good evening or late evening to those who are presenting from India. Thank you very much, Archana and Srijani team. I think it was great to hear the stalwarts from Bay Area like B.V. Jagdish, Venk Shuklaji, Raju Reddy Garu, and Ms. Vinita Gupta ji. I think entrepreneurship is in the air in Silicon Valley and then Bay Area. That is my experience after 1 year here. Amazing ideas come up here, and I think this platform has really bridged the young minds in India, and then the great investors, and then what can I call them? The great minds in Silicon Valley. I appreciate your initiative. I know congratulations to all those who came up to this stage. It was very interesting to me to hear the new ideas. I know it is not easy for the judges, to really assess the prices for these teams. This event comes at a time when we are still battling against the pandemic. We are at a critical juncture. India has gone through the worst of whatever the second phase we call, but no, economy is economy. Soon we may have to start the uphill battle against the economic fallout of this pandemic as well. And in the battle, the role of startups and new technology will be very, very critical in terms of addressing new issues that we are faced with, and also we have to generate new business avenues and employment opportunities. This impact is not limited to any country or region, but it is universal or global, you can say, and that impact, very significant impact on the trajectory of global economic recovery itself. As two vibrant democracies, large and oldest, India and US share a broad-based and multi-sectoral, multifaceted cooperation. We have about $142 billion trade between India and US, and along the length and breadth of economic spheres. And we have a strategic partnership, which is strengthening our relationship. US is India's largest trade partner, and India is 9th largest trade partner of the US. There is growing engagement across the sectors, including defense, security, energy, education, science and technology, agriculture, healthcare sector, etc. The new emerging element in our relationship is relationship matrix is the domain of startup ecosystem. Silicon Valley is a shining example of how startups can make it big on tech and business landscape. There are many examples where Indian startups were nurtured by mentors in the Silicon Valley. I could see some comments there, and eventually became a big success story. There are also examples of where many potential tech solutions were first exposed and experimented in India before they were expanded or scaled up. Today, India has third largest startup ecosystem in the world, expected to witness an annual growth of 12 to 15%. There are about 55,000 active startups in India at present. Around 9,000 of these are technology-led startups. We have a separate startup division in the Ministry of Commerce, giving fillip to all these initiatives. These figures have some interesting facets as well. The number of women and entrepreneurs stands at 14% in these startups. That has created roughly 165,000 new jobs in Indian economy. Bangalore and Delhi both are ranked among the world's top 40 startup cities. Despite the challenges posed by COVID surge in both 20 and 21, India's startup community has found itself an unprecedented funding prospects this year. In the first 4 months of 2021, 11 companies have attained unicorn status, meaning they have reached a valuation of at least 1 billion. I think you all know better unicorn than me. 5 startups hit that milestone in April alone this year. Global investors eyeing keenly on the India's tech sector and digital space, which is ever expanding. The investment size is due to the rise of India's digital economy. There are more than 700 million internet users, as someone else also said, in the country now, and roughly 500 million yet to come online. This reflects the enormous potential of Indian market in the digital area. Last August, I myself had interacted here with the CEOs of some of the successful cross-border startups. that are founded by Indians in Silicon Valley. I was happy to find that they're already a thriving startup bilateral mechanism here. I'm fascinated by the variety of fields of engagement. I know just now we saw the presentations, but last time when I met them, it was from drone technology to counterfeiting of customer relations, etc. So during this discussion, I also found an average Indian startup have created 40 jobs in the US while adding 8 jobs back in India. Startup dynamics is not unidirectional in nature, but has ripple effect and certainly can make huge impact on global recovery. Silicon Valley's capital coupled with India's vast talent pool, both sides have a lot to gain in this very, very vital aspect of our relationship. I'm not shy of mentioning that Silicon Valley has the best ecosystem to nurture startups, not because of the capital or the technological advantage alone, but largely because of wonderful mentoring atmosphere that exists here. I believe mentorship is the most important element for success of any startup. So today also you have some of the finest Silicon Valley mentors here who have advised, who have given the ideas on this panel as well. I would like to see more and more interaction between India and US in this very, very important sector. Needless to mention, the consulate would always stand prepared to assist you in your efforts for deepening these linkages. Feel free to approach us. Whatever we can do, we will be able to chip in. Once again, thank you very much for this kind invitation. It has been a very, very learning and educating morning for me. I wish all the participants here success in their entrepreneurial journey. Thank you very much. So the third prize goes to the Happy Minds, IIT BHU. Congratulations to you all. Congratulations to all of you. And the second prize goes to Neil Ajin. Again, congratulations to all of you. And the first comes to SumIT. Congratulations, guys.
And that was really, really amazing. Pitch Perfect Award given away by Dr. T.V. Nagendra Prasad Ji, Consul General of India. Congratulations. First prize is won by SumIT from IIT Pune. And they had accessible solutions and a wonderful presentation. Second prize backed by Neil Ajil with their solution of insulin capsules presented by Neelam, IIT Mumbai and Stanford. And the third prize given is backed by Happy Minds from IIT BHU. We thank you, we appreciate, acknowledge all the help given by all our VCs, entrepreneurs, and thank you, Venk sir, Vinita ma'am, Vijay sir, Anu ma'am, Raju sir, and special thanks to Lochan and FalconX for spreading the word around. I really appreciate Dr. TVN Nagendra Prasad Ji, our CG, to please come and help us and being there all the time. So if you have any input, any suggestion, any comment, we will take that before we say adios, namaskar, pranam, goodbye, till we meet again. If anybody has a comment, here is your chance to speak.
I just want to say a few words. One is I want to personally thank the Consulate General for actually taking the time to stay the entire time. That is really commendable, Consulate General. And in fact, I think we'll be meeting later this afternoon as well at the Akshay Patra event in San Ramon. And I really, really appreciate you taking the time and participating in this and encouraging. I just want from a Silicon Valley perspective, I think it'll be really good if some of the policies in India, especially for startup investments, if that can be influenced by people who have done that here many times. And that way you can even attract the best and the brightest minds to invest in India, which I think, as you rightly said, mentorship is even more important than money, because just the money alone is not adequate. And many of us have done companies, but I think there is a lot more that can be done to improve the policies that would help the investors to make this into a win-win kind of a situation. So we would be very happy to discuss this with you and take this forward. And secondly, I want to congratulate every participant, because, I mean, obviously in any contest, there are winners and there are losers, but actually everybody is a winner. Just the fact that all of you came here, submitted your ideas, and then came to this level, everyone here, you should be very, very proud of what you have accomplished. And I can tell you, being on the selection committee, it was really hard for us to choose the 6 out of the 26. Great ideas. Every presentation was absolutely fantastic. Lastly, I want to thank Archana for driving this from day one. And, this is a call that initiated about 2.5 months ago when she called me in India that she wanted to interview me, but we kind of translated that into a bigger platform like this, which has resulted in this. And I want to also thank her because she has initiated all the prizes here. In fact, she did not want anybody's support in terms of giving the prizes. And I really, really appreciate what she has done in creating this platform and also encouraging these ambitious budding entrepreneurs to come to this. So please give a big hand to Archana ji for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay sir. You are our inspiration. You are our hero, because of whom we could create this as a first step that we are making in this Techno series. Will bring more and more. I should mention that our panel of judges also chose 2 standout entries for creative solutions. Although they didn't present today, but they certainly will award an outstanding creative solutions. And they are Ainak by Sunita Verma ji, Bay Area non-profit, and final Indian Butterchew Ramohit Singh Bora ji from GBPU AT.
We're trying to serve the community local here by providing, because we believe that seeing is believing. So if you're not able to see anything, how can you survive in the life? So we are providing the prescription glasses to underprivileged who don't have insurance or they cannot afford. And that's why this nonprofit organization is. And we really want to give thank you for you guys to acknowledging us. And we have our team member here, Aditi, and Vidya.
Basically, this is a give especially for vegan people. Thank you so much.